You may be asking yourself, why was it called the French and Indian War? Well, it was who the colonists in England were fighting: the French colonials and the Native Americans that were aligned with them against the English colonials and the Native Americans that were aligned with them. The French were much more egalitarian with their relationships with the Native Americans and created fierce loyalty. However, the French were defeated, and the British were left with £10 million debt, and they didn't think about, you know, consequences for actions. So, the first thing that England did that annoyed our forefathers was the Proclamation of 1763. And the Proclamation of 1763 drew an imaginary line on the edge of the watershed of the Appalachian Mountains to the west of the west side of the watershed, so that that was the line that colonists would no longer go across to not start combat again with the Native Americans. England was satisfied with the 13 colonies and felt as though they did not need to go west, whereas the colonials, who also fought side by side with the British, thought that winning the conflict entitled them to more land. And this is the beginning seeds of our American Revolution. 1763 is 13 years before 1776 and the Declaration of Independence. These things are important. At this time, everyone in the colonies is a loyal English citizen. How is that going to change? I'd also like to bring in something called Enlightenment thinkers. During this time, people like Jefferson, people like Adams, people like Washington were reading the authors of the Enlightenment. People like Rousseau and Locke and Hobbes. And they all talked about the relationship between the government and the people. And they came up with something called a social contract. And that social contract is important because in 1763, the people in the colonies were satisfied with the social contract. And in 1776, a good percentage of them were not.